Okay, so we have a head of lettuce. I have extra lean ground beef. I've tried turkey or chicken, but my hubby does not fall for it, so you can use whatever you prefer. I also have a package of black beans. I had them from a previous recipe. They were in the freezer, and so they're just thawing right here. And then I have a tomato in the back, and a orange bell pepper, and an onion. And then in the very back, I have zesty Doritos. Those make my taco salad. I use them every time, and it's a hit. And then I've got a can of peaches and cream corn, Frank's hot sauce, and I use either Italian or a jalapeno ranch. And then I also have just a Clubhouse taco seasoning to mix in with my meat. So I've got the meat in the pan here. I'm adding about a cup of water, half a cup of water, and an equivalent of one package to 1.5 packages of the seasoning mix. The reason I add the water is because it helps not only the meat break down, but all the seasoning to mix in with everything. And then you get even chunks. So then I just break it apart with a spatula. You can use whatever tool you prefer. Spatula always works for me. Nothing special, but it works. And everybody has one in their kitchen. Okay, so now that that's blending, I'm going to move over and do some prep. So for my cutting board, I always put either a wet paper towel or a wet cloth down. Then the board doesn't move. You don't want the board to move while you're cutting because that's how accidents happen. So this container is actually a Tupperware veggie platter container, but I use it for all my meal preps for meals like this because I can put everything in here. It's one container, less mess, less dishes. It's happy all around. So I've got corn, my onion, tomato, bell pepper, the black beans here, and then in these two I usually put the meat once the meal is over. Okay, so let's get prepping. So I just cut the lettuce in half. I don't bother taking the plastic off, fighting with that. And then I just peel the outer layer of the lettuce off. But first I hammer it on the board with the core, and it pops right out. So I'm just setting one to the side. But that's the easiest way to get the core out of iceberg is you smash it, and then you can pop the core out. If there's any left in it, then I just cut it out with a little triangle there. Just like that. So I just put my little garbage pile to the side there, move any plastic over, and I'm good to go. Starting on everything else. So with peppers, I cut the end off and then I cut the sides. I do it this way because then plastic. Then you can see the inside, and it keeps all the white part of the core together. And then I just work it down. Easy peasy. And then I just cut around the top part. So then I cut it in strips first this way. I don't cut it the other way with the skin up because it's actually harder on your knife and harder to cut through it. So I'm just cross-dicing it. And then I'll work on the tomato. Take off the sticker and the core. This tomato's not the nicest. So when a tomato if it's overly ripe, I really don't like it. But I don't want it to go to waste, so what I'll do is I'll set it to the side, and I'll dice it later, and I'll put it in a freezer bag, and I'll use it for a spaghetti sauce. So I'm just opening the bag of black beans, I'll dump those in there, and they'll finish thawing. They're just about there. And now for the onion, the worst part. Everybody hates the onion. So what I do is I leave the end on, the part that would have the stem, the roots I mean, and then I cut each end, I cut the opposite end off, and then I cut straight through. If you leave the core part on, the root on, you tend to cry just a little bit less, and then I peel it. There we go, and I'll set that to the side. There we go. So I leave that root part on as I cut it, and then I'll show you an easy way to cut onions. Just moving all the pieces out of the way and putting the other half back in a bag. So I'm just going to give this a stir, make sure it's not sticking. I don't want anything to burn. It is on like a medium low, so then I can prep while I do everything else. So the easiest way to cut an onion is you leave the root part on there and you start from the other side. Lots of people will cut towards their hand, cut it halfway. I don't do that. So I follow the line of the onion and I cut straight down. So I cut straight down. I always take my time. Doesn't have to be fast. So you get like these little lines that go across, and then you don't have to cut towards your hand. Yeah, I don't like doing that. And then you just slice across those lines you just cut, and you get this perfect little dice every time. And it makes it much simpler. You're not cutting towards your hand, no chance of cutting yourself, and then I go across. Then as I get to the root, I just chop little pieces off, and you're very little waste. And then those pieces at the end there, I just do a rough chop. Easy peasy. There we go, onion done. Done. Okay, so everything's ready now. I've got the lettuce in the bowls and everything's in the container. And then I've got the chips in the back here. And what I do is I just leave it in the bag and I crunch it up as big or as small as you want. And yeah, good to go. So you can also add cheese to this, we just don't. And oh, let's check this. It's just reducing down a little bit more and we're good to go. So that's my easy taco salad. I hope you guys try it. Like and subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for more videos. And I appreciate you guys all watching. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye guys.